So what we got here is, I'm not sure if she's right on that or wrong.
Well, it's Eli.
It's
Yeah,
Eli?
Eli, yeah.
But see, in your,
It's spelled E-L-I.
I know, but in the minutes it said she said or her.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I picked up.
It might have been something that you said. It might have been something.
Yeah, it might have been something I said.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's okay.
Maybe I made a mistake.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. The project elevated East Avenue 2.5 feet above the existing grade to line up with the railroad. That was back in '38. So that really made that area a very low area. So at that point, the park became 2.5 feet lower. This information is available on the South Basin Drainage Investigation at the Village of Grange. It tells you everything about the whole South Basin. And if you guys are going to plan that park, somebody really should go through that because it tells the tale of everything. The big question is, where did the toxic substances come from? And I have a theory. Could they be the remains of the former LaGrange gas plant located across the street at 47th and Bluff? And you guys know all about the gas company. By the two brick garages next to the railroad tracks. It operated from 1901 to 1912. In 1913, the property was sold to the Western United Gas and Electric Company. In 1950, Western United merged with Public Service Company of Northern Illinois, which in turn merged with Commonwealth Edison in 1951. In 1954, Edison spun off its holdings with the formation of Northern Illinois Gas. In 1966, Northern Illinois Gas started selling parcels of their land off, and it was in a court docket that I picked up, and I have that. So, some of those remains that are in that park could have been from that gas company. Do you have the new soil test available?
If you want to make public, I'm happy to talk offline about some of we're gonna address some of this in the.
I think we're going to talk about an update to Sedgwick Park tonight. I think we've made most of the information.
Well, I think this is something that's important that all residents understand.
And we're going to talk about it.
I'm not trying to cover it up, John. We are going to talk about it publicly this evening. Yeah. I think Patty's going to give us an update. Mm-hmm. So I think we, as the board, I'm speaking myself, I also want to know what's going on and get an update. So everything we've tested so far, let me be clear, has been put in the public record. It's in the minutes of meeting. If you reviewed the last minutes, you saw some of that reporting, and we will continue, I think, to be transparent with anything information that we have.
Well,
that's clear.
I was not aware of any of this until I read the minute package,
That's when we found out about it, was last month. So we are just being apprised of this, at the same time you are.
It just so happens that it's down the street from my house.
Mm-hmm. Understand.
Task Order 14 from the village shows that Sedgwick Park is a site for possible drainage rectifications of the village. And nobody at the village will tell us what they spent engineering fees on every park and school in this whole LaGrange area. We don't know. We're in the dark. And they won't tell us anything about what's going to go on with the flood control problem other than at 49th and East Avenue, the water keeps coming closer and closer to the corner there. And there's the main combination sewer runs right along that park. So
just to keep on track, we don't control the village. I just want to be clear. Yeah, I just want to be clear. We don't operate any of the village planning. That's not this board.
Well, back to where we're at here.
Okay.
In 1990, it was decided with Commonwealth Edison and Northern Illinois Gas that they would share the cost of cleanups for these sites. Those two brick garages that are right across the street are dirty. And there's a blight on that title that they can't do anything or they can't dig on the property. The village wanted to rezone that for multiple family. They couldn't. It only can be industrial there. My question is, if the chemicals that I have and the reports that I have from that property, if they're the same chemicals that are in that field, well then perhaps the gas company and the electric company are going to foot the bill for that, which would be better for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I can share that information with you. I can even let you copy what I have. I don't care. But I think it's something that you need to look at to see if they can repair that. And I don't know if you are familiar with Berry Park and Oak Park, where they had to dig up the whole square block and remove 10 feet of dirt from it because there was a gas plant that was there. And, you know, there were people that were getting sick over there. But we're in a different circumstance because we just might have the garbage from it. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you,
Thanks,
John.
John.
Appreciate it. And yes, if you'd like to send information, I'd be happy to look through what you have.
I'll stop by and I'll
That'd be
touch
great.
base with
Thank you.
you.
Other comments? I want to make sure we have the floor open. Rose?
I guess just 911 South Street Avenue. I guess just I would like Rotatis here to address some of the drainage issues. I did bring it up at the end of the meeting last month. Just how does that factor into Sedgwick and the redevelopment? Thank you.
Thank you, Rose. Please.
Chris LaRocco, 505 South Waiola. Sorry, this is not about Sedgwick, it's about Waiola. Kudos to the construction that's happening there. It's good to see some progress. Is there a way to get more than 3 guys on it so we can actually accomplish it sooner than the deadline?
We're working with Landworks. They supply the contractors, so
They're working?
they have a
It's 3 guys,
substantial
so it's
completion
like-
date of October 4th, and they do plan to be done by then.
Is there a way you can put up what's coming? There's a family with 2 little boys, and they ride their bikes there every day to see what's different.
Yeah.
So they're so excited, and it's like missing. So
I think there is a picture of the
Yeah.
park is in one of our ordinance. We actually had to prove that several months ago.
but is it up?
There's
It's posted
yard
online.
signs and there's the
Yeah.
QR code, so people would scan the QR code and then it'll take them to the
I'm
site.
just saying, like, for those little boys to see, like, what's
Yeah.
would be really fun. They're so, I see them all the time.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you got it.
The contractor did tell us about 2 weeks until the equipment's up.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, they're putting it up.
Yeah.
It's like one post will go in.
But 2 weeks is when the equipment should be done.
Yeah.
And then they'll service it and take a little bit.
yeah.
Is there a way to print or put on the website the timeline of like, this is like the playground is first and then the bill?
It changes. Yeah, it changes.
We've been asking.
So we are sending out things via social media. So we just gave an update on the playground,
Yeah, no,
and
I've
so
seen
we'll
those.
keep trying to do that. I putting out a timeline. It can change.
Well, it
So.
doesn't have to be a timeline, it's just like stage 1, stage 2.
Mm-hmm. We're doing that through social media. Yeah. So if you follow our social media, you'll see kind of like what's
I just want
happening.
those little boys to have pictures.
Yeah. If their parents go to our website, everything's on there. The playground, everything's on our website.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
any other comments?
All right, thank you. Seeing there are none, we'll move on to the next agenda item, 2.2. Let's get an update from Patty and Gage on the referendum project.
Okay, so thank you to Patty and Gage for coming again tonight from White & Company. As we've mentioned in our last meeting, there were some contaminants found within the northeast corner of Sedgwick. So if you look up at the screen, kind of this area here and then all the way up here. And so because of that, it is safe. I do want to always lead with that. It is currently safe. There is a 12-inch barrier. But we wanted to enroll in the EPA voluntary site remediation program. So that requires us to meet their requirements, which is a 3-foot barrier. And so we've been working with White & Company to see how we can accommodate that. And I will turn it over to Patty or Gage, whoever wants to speak.
We'll probably tag team this.
Okay. I can't go.
Because he'll be like, no, that's not it, Patty. You're wrong. You don't happen to have the exhibit that's colored that shows the area of contamination. That might be a little easier for them to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. All right, so while Jenny's pulling that up, I'm Patty King. I'm with White Company. For those of you who come to the board meetings all the time, you're probably getting tired of seeing me. but we're still moving forward with all the parks that we're working on. For Sedgwick, and last month we gave a presentation to the board that got them up to speed. We found out during our soils investigation part of our project, as we're doing construction documents, that the soil is contaminated. I love all the history that you brought today. That's helpful, so thank you.
Yeah.
So please share that with the board and Jenny. But it was a dump site, is that's what we currently understand. And we've determined that not only through historic photos, so Eli from PSC Corps was here last month. He is the representative, they did all the soil borings, they gave the presentation on that. So based on the stuff that they found when they did the borings, it's a bunch of junk. So, and unfortunately, it also is contaminated. So when we figured that out, we kind of stopped what we were doing from a design standpoint. We had TSC go back and do some additional testing because we needed to get more information. And we've come up with a map.
I know, sorry.
I know, it's okay. I'm stalling. We came up with a map that identifies exactly where the contaminated soils are at. Based on that information, we felt like we needed to make some changes to the overall design for Sedgwick Park as we're trying to figure out how to deal with the contamination that's there. And the costs for it, it is about 5 acres of the park.
4.5 to 5 acres.
That is contaminated, so it's a significant portion. Some of the borings went down 12 to 16 feet, so it's a reasonably deep hole that has been filled in. As Jenny said, this site is currently safe. There is a 12-inch barrier of topsoil over the site right now. The contaminants that are in there, because they're not airborne and floating around, it's not an issue.
There it is.
Woohoo! Excellent. Ta-da! Okay, so I'm just gonna walk over here. So this area, this cane is really helpful. I had knee surgery a couple weeks ago, so this is temporary. This section is also contaminated, but because the parking lot is a suitable cap, it's covered, we just didn't include that piece. But most of the senior field is in the contaminated zone, as well as down East Avenue, about the top third of the parking lot as well. So this is the area that we are concerned with. We did have plans to renovate senior field, but as we got into it, there's 2 ways we can make the park meet the EPA requirements of today. And the Park District is currently going through the site remediation program, so we will meet the EPA requirements for that when we're done. You can either have a membrane that covers the site and has 18 inches of soil over the top of that, or you can have 3 feet of soil is enough of a cap. We like the 3 feet of soil option because it still gives us the opportunity to plant trees. It's also going to be a little cheaper, although the price it's expensive. And we'll get into that in a minute. So right now, our approach to deal with it is to make modifications, and we'll show that plan in a second. We're going to make modifications. We're going to move senior field and rebuild prep field, okay? And make this our premier field, thank you. And then the area where senior field was, we have to raise that up an additional 2 feet. So that whole zone, we have to import 2 feet of fill to get that total of 3 feet. So we're going to make a soccer field there, which is an appropriate use. All right, and we can make that grading work. But it's a significant area that we need to deal with. Okay, so we've been working very hard to figure out how to do this as economically as possible. because we ran numbers the first few days we figured out what was going on. And I don't remember the exact number, but it was tens of thousands of dollars to excavate all that and haul it away. I mean, it's, in our minds, from a recommendation standpoint, it really was not feasible. So, you want to add anything to that?
No, just again, I want to, we literally are just uncovering this information now. We had no idea it was contaminated. This is just for, public comments will be again at the end of the meeting.
We gotta go and.
Oh, okay. Well, we can connect tomorrow.
There's a village meeting shortly.
Okay,
also, and,
yeah. So we have a new plan.
Okay.
Yep, go ahead.
So I'm going to go back. I should have just stayed here. Sorry, y'all. So as you can see, we have removed senior field and improved that here. So we did make a few adjustments. The home plate's not quite in the exact same spot, but we do have the senior field here. We are going to reconstruct that. We're planning on adding lights. So this again will be your premier field. We're relocating the batting cages here. So now we'll have two sets of batting cages right next to each other. So either the folks who are using the big field or the little league field can also use those. So we like that continuity. Our pathways are still pretty consistent. Our restroom building is still maintaining in this location. This is our new full-size soccer field, so we're really excited about that. Kevin is anyways, because he wanted more soccer field, so he gets a plus. And then we had originally had our volleyball courts and our multi-sport courts of futsal and basketball closer to the parking lot. But we, due to the grading, because we have to come up 2 feet, we needed some space to allow for that to happen gradually. So we did relocate that over into the outfield, just beyond the outfield of the senior field. The parking lot was always planned on getting totally rebuilt anyways, so we have, very small area up at that, the north end of that lot that we'll need to deal with, but we're planning on taking the soil that we excavate and we're going to bury it because we've got to move some dirt around. Anything we need to uncover from an excavation standpoint, we're going to bury it in this location down deep so that we can still have that 3 feet of cover. Does that all make sense?
No.
It doesn't.
No. You can't raise the grade of that park because you're gonna flood 49th Street out. All that water goes off to East Avenue.
Yes, we are going to add some additional drainage in the park to accommodate that because we certainly understand that the sheet flow is that way. We're going to collect it and make sure that we can get it off.
Can you speak to the grading that's occurring between the new soccer field and the existing soccer field? Does that grade go level about where that path is? Because I'm assuming it's a little slope there.
It is currently sloped, and the contaminated zone does kind of come into this corner.
Right.
So this is one of those other areas we are going to scoop that out and clean that piece up. But then the grade here is going to pick up, and then we'll tabletop this off with the soccer.
So that other soccer field at the bottom will be largely flat, though. We can keep
Yes,
that
and
playable.
that's essentially going to stay at the same
Okay.
elevation.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
So there's going to be an elevation change here. It basically happens all around the edge. We understand that has to occur. It's part of the reason why we moved some of those improvements a little farther away. Why we have some room here between the outfield and the sand volleyball and the multi-sport sport is to accommodate that rise in elevation we need to get to.
So earlier, Patty mentioned hauling off the contaminated soils. It's just not economically feasible for our project. But she said tens of thousands of
Wait a minute.
But
Let's look into this possibility of what is actually underneath this field, because maybe the government is going to force Commonwealth Edison and NICOR to fix this. There's 45 sites in this state.
If I may, this is a board meeting and it's not a public comments section. So I'll ask Gage
Well,
and Patty,
obviously, you
Gage and
people
Patty, if
don't
you
know
could
what you're
address the
doing.
board. I think that would be a better use of the time this
Yeah.
evening.
So
We're happy to take comments when is the public comments period.
I have
Thank
to
you,
go
thank
someplace. I won't be here for the whole.
John, we can talk tomorrow.
Please. You were saying something about the cost of moving the soil
yeah,
was extremely
so
high.
we talked about last meeting, the cost to take the soil out is astronomical, especially because we're right at this kind of point where we could take it to local dumps, but it could get flagged at the local dumps and we have to take it further away. And that's when you're starting to look at $20,000 a load. So like bringing the grade up really from an economical standpoint is necessary at this point. And we've been working with our team. Really what we would like to do on here is scrape off that protective 1 foot layer of topsoil, because that's still a cap. Then we can import whatever we can get our hands on economically, so clay fill that people have access of, stuff like that, and then we put the topsoil back. And so instead of adding a 3 foot cap across this thing, we're actually really bringing the grades up about 2 feet to help minimize that kind of wall of dirt that you're asking about along that field.
So why are you, can you explain to me why you're taking off the clean dirt? I'm not understanding why
So
you're doing that.
what we can get
Because
To save
economically
the
is
clean
not.
dirt that's there is topsoil,
Yeah,
so it's organic.
That's good
I
stuff.
understood
So-
that, yeah.
So the clay fill, which is probably what we'll end up getting, is not, and it's unique. You can't
Got it.
put it on
Okay.
top of the organic.
Okay, I got it now.
So you just-
Okay,
you
okay.
just
So you're gonna
gotta
put the clay
put-
fill in and then put the topsoil back
Yes.
in? Okay, now I got it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for
so
explaining.
that's us trying to minimize that.
Yeah, okay.
So.
So our hope with this plan is that we still maintain all the recreation facilities that we were looking to have. Now, could say we lost a baseball field, softball,
Dog park.
dog
Dog park.
no, well, I wasn't.
Well, prep.
Well, yeah, but we did lose
Yeah.
the dog park as well. But we're making the one field a higher end field. We had talked internally that maybe we didn't quite need both those fields, to the senior field and the prep field. So this was our compromise. The soccer field works great because it doesn't require any foundations, so it needs a flat area with turf. We really don't in the future want to penetrate that 3 foot cap. So from a practicality standpoint and future improvements, you won't be able to penetrate that cap. We would not recommend that. If you do, you're gonna have to deal with the soil that's below, because we're going to leave that in place, the contaminated soil.
Do you know how deep down you'd have to go to get rid of the soil?
All of it?
Up to 12 feet.
Up to 12 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have you guys done stuff like this before?
I'm learning along the way. We have really smart people that we've brought in to help. Eli from TSC Corps really is our expert in that area. And our civil engineers have dealt with contaminated sites before. Although you don't see them very often, they work very hard behind the scenes to make sure that we have a plan that will work, is feasible. So I'm comfortable with the approach. I think it's a fairly conservative approach. I like that we're moving forward with the EPA site cleanup, so we'll ultimately get a letter of no further remediation, which means the park is safe. But it will probably come with restrictions that you're not going to put in, light pole foundations that go down 10 feet, and you're not going to put a building foundation right there. So that area of the park is going to be limited from a future improvement standpoint. You're just going to need to keep that in mind and have a file on it, which I know Jenny has. So.
On the field, it looks like it changed a little bit on the left field.
Yes.
So what is the distance to the home run?
It was 350, I thought.
380, I believe.
Oh, 380.
It matches what the current senior field is.
I guess I thought I saw it drawn before where it was a circular. Yeah, right there, yeah.
I think this is 380, but Paige, do you know what distance this is?
380.
Well, they're different distances.
There's one section where it doesn't meet the 380.
Yeah.
It might be down to like 370.
Oh, okay. It's not
But
a change.
it's actually a bigger outfield than what our previous plan was because we had cut off the outfield a little bit more because of the right of way along East Ave. So
I think you put a green wall there.
And it will be, the infield will allow for 60, 70, 80. We talked about pegging it for all.
We'll have multiple base, there's plugs
Options.
in,
Mhm.
so that you can pop out the plug
Yep.
and pop it in your base. So we're gonna, I
The
think
flat
right now
mount.
we have 70, 80, and 90 foot baselines.
And Chris, you might know this, what ages does that facilitate, 60 to?
13 up to 18.
13 to 18?
Yeah, there's a Babe Ruth Junior League and Senior League.
Okay.
So that field will be fine. Those dimensions will be fine.
Okay.
Are we gonna talk about this further, or is this the only time we're talking about it?
Well, we are going to approve the plan, but if you have questions for Gage and Patty are not going to stay for the whole meeting. So if you have questions, now is the time to ask. We have explored some different funding opportunities. We did try to put it under our pollution policy through PDERMA. Unfortunately, it's not covered. So we have a stop date of 2021. So anything prior to 2021 is not covered by our pollution policy. Cook County has a brownfield restoration program. Unfortunately, that's expiring at the end of 2026, and they didn't feel we would be able to move through the process, so they kind of rejected our project. I reached out to the Illinois EPA. They said, unfortunately, we didn't qualify for their funding. White is going to explore biosolids from MWRD. MWRD, for any sort of assistance, we'd really have to partner with the village. And the village doesn't feel that Sedgwick is a good location for the storage.
Yeah, well, you know what I want to do, right? As I mentioned, I want us to look at, can we dig that up and put water over there? And then and work with WMRD, the village, everybody, because the village is holding on to all this money.
Mm-hmm.
We're waiting for this lawsuit to happen, and they continue to do nothing. And that's why I see this as an opportunity where maybe, if that's a good place to put water, that we try to collaborate with those other organizations and put some water there.
So would you like a septic tank in your backyard?
I don't know all the details of it, but
Is it
it's
a
just,
reservoir thing or something?
they're,
Yeah.
is that what they are?
Well, it's combined sewer water. I don't know how they can tell you that they're gonna bring
the combined
water
sewer
and separate it and make it storm water. But
So let's
it's
keep the
basically a
conversation here,
septic tank
please.
that never
Let's
gets
keep the conversation
maintained.
here, please.
So, yeah.
No, it's my yard. I mean, I live in the neighborhood too. It's a small town, so no,
Yeah.
I don't want septic in my yard where my kids play baseball. No.
It's just, their flooding issues will never get done till 2029, until the last reservoir gets built.
That's not what we're talking about. All the stormwater detention, that's all village. It's not park district. The village is a different taxing body. The park
I
district is a different
understand that,
taxing.
I understand that.
They don't have any control over the stormwater management.
Do you
of
ever
the village.
walk the park and come past the handicap ramp set?
John, I'm going to ask you to keep your comments till public comments, okay? We're happy to hear your comments.
No, John, we need to get the meeting in order.
That impact our,
Please, sir. Public comments will come later. We give you plenty of opportunity, John, but we need to keep the meeting on track. And I will gladly open the floor to you later, okay?
Well,
Thank you.
you people just don't pay
Thank you.
attention, because I told you it was a garbage dump months ago.
Okay, so we're working with MWRD for biosolids. I'm still speaking to them about the other. I don't know that that's, again, the village would need to initiate that, and I don't believe they feel Sedgwick is the right place. Also, I don't know that MWRD would pay to put a storage container if it were a good fit in a contaminated site. Because again, any work you do, you need to get a health and safety plan. So I just don't know that that would be a solution that they would even be interested in doing. I'm going to continue to have discussions with them, but that's kind of where that is. I have submitted a letter and application to the US EPA. funding right now from the US EPA is a little unpredictable. I did get a response today, though. I was pleasantly surprised. But they asked if we needed it quickly, and it didn't sound like it was. They don't have any funding available at this time, is what what I was told. So I asked for other options. There are revolving loans. That's kind of a last resort. We don't really feel we are in the position to get a loan. Those are just low interest rate loans if we needed support. And then I've reached out to elected officials trying to see if we've been added to their budget this year. And then once we have a little bit more information about this, I'll reach out again. So next month, we're going to put together, we're still considering OSLAD, which I think is a solution for us right now. We can, add the path along the soccer field, on the outside of the soccer field. We can pull out, I think we said, the multi-sport court and volleyball courts. So we can pull out some of these elements from the referendum project, which is still the referendum, but try to, again, obtain an OSLAD grant so we can get matching funds of up to $600,000. So we'll present that next month. Once we have the exhibit and budget. So that's another option to get us some money. We did talk about removing the grading and drainage from Gilbert. We had enhanced that throughout this project because we were having some extra money. The budget was a little freer, but when this happened, so now we think we'll still have the soccer field and we'll do a little bit of grading, but we're going to remove that drainage and excessive grading from Gilbert, and that'll save us $200,000. So it'll still be a soccer field, it'll still be usable, it just won't have that drainage, and that's a project we can look at down the road if we need it. So we're trying to find ways to pull things back and cut things out. Right now, the difference for Group A projects was $5.4 million. That went out to bid. Right now we're about $100,000 under budget. And Group B was originally $6.5 million, which is now about almost $9 million, just under $9 million. So we're looking at a difference of about $2.5 million. So we do have some construction contingency of $1.3 million and escalation if we can get everything bid out of about $870. So that's about $2.1 million, just under $2.2 million. So we're there, and we just might have to, if everything goes as planned.
So these changes, the additional, because we have to remove 2 baseball fields, right? We were only going to pull down 1, and not all of it. We're going to add a new press box in, so that use is still intact. The additional soil that we're currently costing to bring in. Now, Craig Pulte, our construction manager, he's our person on White Construction. He is trying to figure out if he can get clean fill for free, or at least some of it, because he has his head in the game on all the local construction projects. He knows what's going on. Often projects are looking to get rid of clean fill. We would get proper documentation, all the CCDD testing would be intact before we said yes to any of those things. If we can find enough soil, that'll save us a little over $1 million. So all of it is still possible. We're not far enough along in the game to be able to say with certainty that we either do or don't have it.
Could you speak to, you talked about pulling back on some of the grading in Gilbert potentially.
We are.
Is that work that we had planned there, was it to address a known issue, or was it a nice to have, or what's the impact on that site, just so we really understand that?
So that area is a low area. We were going to add the additional drainage in just to have the soccer field have more playability after rain events.
Okay.
Our approach at this point is to regrade the field. It's a little lumpy, right? Over time, it's a little lumpy. So we were gonna regrade that out so it's smooth again.
We're talking about just the soccer portion, correct? The lowest line.
Right.
Okay.
So that'll at least make it smoother to play on. It's not going to alleviate the drainage issue. That is also something you can do in the future. So it's a reasonable, easy add-on as a separate project later. You know, but we're just trying to figure out how to help you guys, you know, manage this beast of a thing. With the
No, I understand. I understand.
So,
it's hard.
We're looking at all sorts of stuff. So.
And I want to stress that the Gilbert soccer field was not in the original referendum plans. That was something we added as we kept going and getting new cost estimates and seeing where the budget was.
So we put that in before we knew what was going on at Sedgwick. So now we feel like we kind of need to pull it out. Or do soccer field light, which is what
We also felt like adding more soccer here. We're adding a lot more soccer here than what was at Gilbert. So the trade-off there is it's preferable, I guess.
Sure.
So do you guys have questions? Do the commissioners have questions for White and Company? Otherwise, this is the plan that staff is recommending to move forward with, and we will be voting on this.
Oh, final question. Does this change any of the timelines for this park?
Not currently.
Okay.
We're still planning on having it constructed in 2026.
Okay.
So if we, at the next meeting, I know Jenny said that we were, she's going to present an OSLAG proposal for this park. Though, if you approve that, the elements that we pull out of this plan to put in the OSLAG grant application, that work probably won't get built until 2027. All right. So that will extend the timeline a little bit, but that if you get that award, that gives you access to another $600,000, which is significant. So.
The little dark part, is that concrete or is that grass?
It is concrete, yes. Sorry, it's our edge. That would be concrete. Yes.
From a timing standpoint too, it also depends on where we get the soil from. So if we open it up and we can get some free soil in from other sites, that might take a little bit longer, but then the savings. But in the end, we'd still be shooting for kind of the 2026 and fall planting period for turf. But again, if we can save money by getting free soil.
I understand. So we're envisioning then everything is playable on the, well, really just the new baseball field and the soccer field are probably the biggest pieces that would be playable spring of 2027.
We would really recommend you let the grass grow in for a season.
Okay.
Just from a turf management standpoint,
Okay.
you know, that end of the table is like this. If you play on the new grass too soon, you basically kill it and compact all the soil, and it really is a pain. And I know it's really hard to tell your community to wait another summer before you can play on it, but it really goes a long way.
Okay.
So that would be our recommendation, that it grows in for a year.
So, on the concrete part, how come you're adding so much concrete to that?
Because we're adding bleachers and dugouts.
Dugouts?
Yeah. So.
It's going to be a premier field.
Felt like we kind of
Yeah,
had
it seems like a lot, but once you get the bleachers in there and start getting the accessibility around it,
it
grows pretty quick.
Any other questions?
I don't see any. So, it's good. Brad, you're comfortable with what's been presented?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll be comfortable is the right word.
No, yeah.
What did you say?
Comfortable isn't the right word.
word.
Comfortable is the
Yeah.
word. As long as we understand the plan so we can vote on it, that's the
Try to
most
make it-
important thing. We need to understand. Okay, well, thank you for sharing that information. It was very useful.
Thank you for coming. Have a good night, unless you want to stay.
You know.
Okay, Let's move to consent agenda 3.1. I'll look for a motion to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting dated May 12th, 2025, approval of the financial reports dated May 31st, 2025, and approval of the consolidated vouchers for June dated June 9th, 2025.
Commissioner Beer?
Yes.
Commissioner Carter?
Yes.
Commissioner Weber?
Yes.
President Open?
Yes. Let's move to 4.1. We'll start with the director's report.
Okay. So I just have a few things to add outside of my report. There was an update on Senate Bill 1612, raising the competitive bid limit threshold. And there's been some negotiations, and their bill was amended to raise the competitive bid threshold for supplies and materials to $60,000, while keeping it at $30,000 for other bids. So this would be materials and supplies. So like, for example, we were just purchasing all of our new park ID signs. We had to be like, we need it under $30,000. Now, if it goes over, we're good till $60,000. But if you're doing a project with labor, it falls under that $30,000. So you can buy materials up to $60,000 and then work on just the labor part through the $30,000 competitive bid. So it is a good bill for us. Jamie and I have been working on our DCEO grant, which is the $250,000 from Senator Porfioro. So we are going to be getting that money. I was a little taken aback when they said apply as quickly as you can, because they hope to get the grant agreement in place by, what did she say?
June 30th.
And June 30th of 2026. So we are looking to do that. We're going to put the roof in the capital budget next year. So the project can't be started, or it's easier to go through the grant process. So we're going to do it for the roof next year, which is probably going to be about $400,000 over the garage portion of the facility. So we're working on that application, and we will probably need you, President Open, to sign some of the paperwork, and then we'll bring the grant agreement to the full board.
Sure.
So. IPRA, they did decide to move out. Their agreement is up, their lease is up at the end of August 31st of 2025. They also have found storage at another location. They don't need storage, so we will not be presenting anything to the board at this point. I did ask where they were storing their stuff. Unfortunately, it means we do lose our free memberships, so we'll just have to budget for that moving forward. And that is all I have. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Is there going to be advertisement or promotion of the space available for a lease for other?
Well, we're still working on that. We are probably planning on moving our staff up here out of that hallway and then utilizing the other rooms. One of the ideas that we are going to use, probably a couple of the rooms, or at least one of the rooms, is instead of looking at converting the concession stand into a changing area, we can utilize two of those offices and put some amenities in there for changing for the fitness members, to give them privacy if they want to step away. So we have that idea. And then we are, for massages or certain things like those types of industry trades, you do need sinks. So we are looking at getting quotes, but because there's no drains, like we can run the water to it, but it's the drains that are going to be expensive. But we are going to get a quote just to see, because we would like to be able to offer like massages or things like that. That's really one of the only things you can do with that area, is some of these smaller niche services. So we're in the process of doing that. So.
Other questions? All right, let's move on, and I'll get the order right tonight. We'll talk about finance now with Jamie.
I'll keep my report brief. I just wanted to note that our auditors were on site on the 29th and started our preliminary field work. They will be back tomorrow. So they were scheduled for the week of the 9th, but we're sitting in a good place where they don't believe that our audit will take many more visits. So they'll be back here tomorrow and probably Wednesday. To hopefully, get everything that they're needing in that last trip, and then kind of just finalize, any changes. On the heels of that, I did want to make note that my April financial reports, as well as May's, may be subject to change depending on any post-fiscal year adjusting journal entries. And at that point in time, when those are made, I will go ahead and give the board updated reports just for your records as well. Other than that, I don't have anything else to add, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. Seeing no questions, let's move to Kevin. We'll get the recreation update.
Just a couple things to reiterate in my report. So we did welcome 2 new staff on the 2nd, the weekend, Drew Vonderhubel and Cindy Normandy. So we split the recreation supervisor position in half and allocated Drew to do preschool, early childhood and youth special interest programs that are non-athletic and non-fitness based, as well as performing arts, dance, and the small-scale special events. Cindy is doing teens, adults, trips, senior programming that is non-fitness and athletic based, as well as 2 of our campsites, and she will be doing administrative work with the base program. We did start day camp today, so it was good to see the kids back in session with us. We got going with the season at all our sites. We had travel basketball tryouts on June 5th, 7th, and 8th. We have one more tryout date next Saturday, the 14th. We had 212 kids try out through those first 3 days. We are anticipating a few more that have not shown up yet next Saturday. So Liam Seiss, our athletics supervisor, and I will be working with the evaluators to go through those assessments, and we will start figuring out how many teams we can accommodate. There is a chance, because of the large turnout, that we will look to rent space from School District 105. So that's what we're working on, just to keep you guys aware. And then the last thing I wanted to bring up was I was approached by the Grange Tigers travel baseball program. It is a local travel organization with teams between 7U and 12U. The gentleman who is overseeing that, or has been the last few years, is looking to step away from doing it. He approached the Park District to kind of take that on. So I am working on some logistics with Liam. We're doing proposals to see if it would be feasible and logistically possible to take that program on in-house. So we're working through those details right now.
I had a question about the senior programming. I saw you had a Hawaiian night that had about 50 people at it.
Yeah, so...
Is that a normal size for that kind of thing? How do you feel about the attendance?
Yeah, so the senior Hawaiian social is one we've had, I think, before I even got hired here in 2010. It's a long-standing summer social. 40 to 50 is the actual average of those socials, but this is one of our bigger ones we've had post-COVID. It has been enhanced with our sponsors. We had 4 sponsors at this one. The library is also a part of it. So it is starting to kind of pick back up a little bit.
Great, thank you. If no additional questions, we'll move to Mike to talk about operations and facilities.
Good evening, everyone. So I just wanted to add a couple of things to my report, other than the fitness metrics and the rental data as well. So I wanted to touch on a couple of new things that came up since our last board meeting. The first thing being is that we got news that the Greater Grange YMCA is going to be closing in July. So we have a couple of sales set up to try to gather some of their members who might be looking for a new health and fitness home. So one of those sales would just be a $0 enrollment, and then another one would be some 10% off personal training sessions. So we're looking to gear those up to get those members over here and give them a warm welcome to the Grange Fitness. And then the other thing that we have updated for the summer is we're about 3/4 of the way through our first summer session of group fitness classes. With that, we are reviewing participation for those classes, and any of the ones that aren't really performing well, we may remove them from the schedule, and that's totally normal for summertime. You see a dip in attendance as people will go outside for their exercise, or they may just have busier summer schedules. So we're going to be closely monitoring that situation as well.
All right, thank you, Mike. Any questions from the board? All right, seeing none, let's move forward. I think we're going to speak to Larry about park maintenance.
Hello. Just a quick update to Gordon. That's the electrical repair was scheduled. We are nearing completion of the work. That's my only update. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Other questions?
Oh, I got a question. Splash pad. So it's closed, but it's running?
Yeah, so we can get licensed for next year. It's running, so I can maintain, usage of the equipment and maintain balance.
But it's closed.
It's closed, yeah, for repairs and carry construction.
There's several of the pieces that are cracked that need to be repaired. So the splash pad, it's 10 years old, so it needs a new, what's the part you ordered?
The chemical controller?
The chemical controller. So we need it's going through a rehab right now, but we did have to get it up and running. But it's not going to be open to the public.
I just see that.
Yeah.
All right, at this time, let's move to action items. We'll start with action item 5.1, discussion and/or approval of the updated Sedgwick site plans. So I think we saw these site plans earlier from Patty and Gage, and I think we want to approve moving forward with that plan. Jenny, do you have anything to add to that?
I don't, just that we'll continue to keep the board updated. And again, next month we'll present the OSLAD.
Yeah, I'm concerned that White, is it called White or Right?
White.
I'm concerned about their experience in dealing with sites like this. We just found out about this last month, and even what John shared, I think he shared some great information that the person who did the research didn't have. John's got all the information we're lucky to have in our community. So I think we need to look at, maybe somebody else looks at the site and looks at what the soil situation is. I don't know.
Well, that's why we've hired TSC, Testing Service Corporation, to enter us into the voluntary EPA program. So that's his expertise. So they're the experts, and they work closely with White with the plans and the testing.
They told us that it was a quarry, and John pulled public records that were contrary to him, that TSC has access to those public records. So it makes me question the diligence of their work. Not to say that they don't do a great job, but I don't know. And I feel like I need to advocate for to get more information.
So if I may add, or maybe make a comment that whether it was a quarry or a gas plant waste site, or whatever it was, what I'm hearing from the experts is it's contaminated. And that makes me concerned about remediating it so that we don't have an issue. So I think John's information is very informative, and it helps us understand that, yes, there's something there that definitely led to the contamination, but I don't know that that's going to change the actions that I think we should take as a board, which is I think we need to remediate it. So that's just kind of my concern. I'd love to have it clean. I'd love to be able to plant trees. And so I guess my question, Chris, is what would make you more comfortable? Because I think, from what I understood, the 3-foot plan would give us a no further remediation letter, so we'd be able to kind of move forward with some of that.
I mean, you know, as I watched White and Company's presentation, it occurred to me that they've not done this before. So it seemed like they were kind of trying to figure it out as they go. And I don't know if there's companies that have done that before, and can we talk to them? So that's what my concern is. It just, the thing that, you're right, it's contaminated, but, you know, Johns did this work on public information and they didn't go as deep. So it makes me question the other parts of what their findings are.
I'm gonna just kind of piggyback off of Brian here. I'm not sure that while it's great to have the information, it's contaminated. So, and I don't know that they said it was a quarry. They said it looked like a quarry based on the 1938, like with the whole, they're just going off of the historic data that they pull. We are in a construction management agreement with White and Company, so we would have to pay White and Company anyways, and then pay another company on top of it. We've also already signed an agreement, the board approved an agreement with Testing Service Corporation. So again, we would be spending more money then. TSC is an expert in this, and again, White and Company, while Gage and Patty have not worked with a site this size of contamination, their engineers have, and they're skilled and qualified to do it. So I do feel confident. Staff would recommend to kind of stay the course and stay with them. Otherwise, it's going to get really expensive if we start pulling out of contracts that the board's already approved.
Does the remediation have to be under White? I mean, is that part of their contract?
Well, it's the remediation
because it's $2
plan
million.
is going to come from TSC.
Okay.
So TSC is going to do the testing, and they're going to work with White to do to enact what that plan is.
Okay.
But White isn't actually doing the work, correct?
No.
They're just the general.
Yeah.
They're just
Some other company.
Yeah.
Correct.
Work.
Right.
It'll
But I
be
mean, we had a contract with them, $7 million, right?
no, their contracts.
No, not their contract itself, but the whole.
They're overseeing all the work.
Right. We're putting $7 million in the parks, and they're helping us with that.
Correct.
Under all things. Now we're adding another maybe $2 million. Is that automatically part of their contract?
Well, it would fall under contingencies because it's to remediate the Sedgwick
But no,
Park plan.
the question is it automatically part of their contract?
It's part of the 13.86 million. Yes, that is what our contract is for. 13.86 million
Okay.
with White and Company.
But is this going to be an extra charge?
No, so I understand, gentlemen, that we have this referendum amount that's been approved, right? And we can move forward with the plans, the site plans that we're approving. And because of this, really the only way financially we're going to make this happen, other than a gift from God at the current moment, is to use some of that money to reallocate it to address some of these issues in what we feel is the most efficient and cost-effective way, whatever that is, and that's our decision, right? So I think the money we can play with is part of that 13.8. With the agreement we have with White, they're basically the general manager of the construction management company here. We can add this to that workload. What I heard is there's a concern about confidence. I do think they're bringing in the resources to try to address some of that. Honestly, if the EPA says 3 foot of soil, and Chris, we know that it's $20,000 a truck to get that stuff out of there, like that's not going to be financially viable in my mind. I think the estimate was in the millions when we looked at taking all the soil out of the ground. So I'm not sure what different solution we might get from somebody else other than more of the same. Just my opinion from what we've heard so far.
Well, it seems like our decision is steered towards putting dirt over the dirt because it's too expensive to pull it out. So it's like every question we ask or everything all points to this one solution, and I don't feel like where, you know, I just think I'm being steered right towards this answer only.
We don't have the financial resources to
I'm
haul
not
it
saying that
all.
we should be spending $20,000 a truck to go somewhere, which I question that amount. But, you know, I just feel like we're being steered towards this one solution only, and I'm not feeling comfortable about it. So,
Well, the other solution is remove it
so
and put in the barrier, and that's going to be $7 to $10 million, which the Park District does not have. So those are the solutions.
which White has not done very often, and TSC is the one who's guiding that decision. And TSC didn't do their enough due diligence to understand the history of the site. They showed us pictures from 50 years ago. They didn't. I didn't ask them to show me pictures from 50 years ago. They decided to show that, but they didn't go deeper, and it just makes me question with the amount of money we're going to spend with them to make sure that they're just doing the right thing for us. So that's why I'm asking some questions.
Sure.
My concern is more the contamination part of things. They're going to take off a foot of soil, scrape it back, put clay down, and then put this soil back. How are they going to know whether they have any of that contamination in that soil?
There'll be significant soil testing throughout the entire process. Any soil that's brought in, even if it's free soil, it'll have to be tested. So it'll all be.
But what I'm saying is the 1 foot that we're taking out, in some cases maybe it's 14 inches or something, and where exactly is that line? Will there be contaminated soil that we're reusing, which I don't think we will need to test?
It'll all have to be tested if they're taking it off, yes. There'll be a testing process to put any soil back.
Usually the topsoil, I mean, when they say soil, they included clay, and they'll take the topsoil off, which there'll be some clay underneath that's probably included in that 1 foot. You might only get 6 inches of topsoil.
Yeah.
I mean, my neighbors had to do the whole reconfiguration because in addition, they had to basically, they scrape off the top. I just saw it done off a back window, so they scrape off the top, put it aside, and then there's a ton of clay in our area. That's probably what is included in that. So I think what would happen is just half a foot of topsoil comes out.
Yeah.
I think this is the only answer at this point. I mean, to your point, is there other contractors, the TSC, but we already got money into TSC. We approved that last time. Whether or not we have the very, very best contractors involved, we don't know. But we already have a contract in place, and we have, it's like putting a down deposit on a house and then not going to it. That's what I look at it.
And will White get multiple bids for that part of the work?
It'll go out for competitive bid, the whole project. It goes out to bid, as you'll see tonight, by trade. So it's broken up, and then they take the best, the lowest bidder, the most qualified lowest bidder. So they'll do a full scope review. And like for tonight, the bid, we're going to approve a bid. Not approve a bid, it's more for transparency, but they've worked with all these vendors. They're comfortable with all the vendors, so they're contractors.
That's where to do the work of, researching what the companies are. Because White isn't doing the work. They're just going to be standing there saying, hey, do this, do that. It's the people that are actually doing the work that we want to be sure know what they're doing.
TSC.
Well, not even TSC. What Brad's saying is the contractors that win the bid, the contractors that are awarded the bids.
Yeah, TSC is just a testing company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they'll help develop the plan.
Board samples.
So at this point, I'd still be looking for a motion to approve the site plan.
Motion to approve.
Give it a second.
Second.
Commissioner Carter?
Yes.
Commissioner Veer?
Yes.
Commissioner Weber?
Nope.
Commissioner Opid,
Yes.
President Opid.
Yes. All right, 5.2, ratify naming rights for the community center and community center park.
Okay, so me just get to this. So I've had some conversations independently with each board member, talking about renaming community center and the community center park. We've talked about Mary Ellen Pennycook, who served on the board from 2001 to 2019, who made some significant contributions to the park district, including the referendum for this building, helping secure the parking lot, getting the remediation done through that, and many other different contributions that she's made. Her leadership really helped push the park district forward. And then Lynn Lacey, she was commissioner from 2011 to 2025. And as we saw in her sending off party, she made a significant impact on the community as well, not just the park district. And she's formed many different bonds within the park district. And Mary Ellen and Lynn Lacey worked together. And so we thought it'd be really nice to name the community center the Lacey Community Center, and then the park, Pennycook Park. And you'll see in your board packet, there are the signs that would go on the buildings. So we're looking for approval. Actually, we're ratifying it because y'all did kind of vote just with me independently for the naming rights, but then the approval of the signs. Happy to answer any questions.
Can I get a motion?
I move to approve ratifying the naming rights for the community center and park center.
One second.
Okay. Commissioner Weber?
Yes.
Commissioner Veer?
Yes.
Commissioner Carter?
Yes.
President Opid?
Yes. All right, 5.4, discussion and/or approval of the crisis management response plan and updated policy. Oh, I'm sorry, I got that out of order. Let me go to 5.3.
I was confused.
Excuse me, let me say that again. Let's go to 5.3,
Okay.
review the bid number 2 results, 2024 referendum group A.
Okay, so this is group 1 was for the facilities, group 2 is for group A park. So this does not include Gilbert or Sedgwick Park. So the bid, the total bid came in at about 3.3 million, just over. And again, this was kind of right on target. It was a little bit under, but that didn't include some of the owner purchased items, such as the playgrounds. White has done a full scope review of all of the contractors. In here, you'll see all the bids that came in. Some of them do only have 1 or 2 bids. The summertime is a busy time, and you have different trades doing different projects within schools too. But White was pleased and is confident in the contractors that came through. They've worked with all of them and feel good with the review. So this is just really because we're in that construction management agreement, it doesn't need approval by the board. The White & Company does appoint award the bid, the contracts to the contractors directly. So we do not have to do that. So this was just for informational purposes. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, if there's no questions.
I have a question. What happens, like with the asphalt pavers? We got 3 bids there.
Mm-hmm.
One's 242, one's 243, and one's 149.
They go with the lowest.
What happens when that guy says, "Oh, wait a minute, I have an extra because I didn't notice this or that or the other thing"?
That's when they do the full scope review before they award the contract to make sure that everything's in there, and they know what they have to do.
Okay.
So
That's
I know it's a big difference. Yeah, it's a big difference. So, for example, with Waiola, Landworks, who they came in significantly lower, and they did a full scope review, and they found out that there was a calculation error on the playground surfacing, and Landworks decided to accept the bid as is and take the hit.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be notified if there is missing something, and they can decide if they want to move forward with the project.
Okay.
Or they can reject or remove their bid.
Any other questions? All right, now let's move to 5.4, discussion and/or approval of the crisis management response plan and updated policy.
Okay, so the safety committee, which consists of all of us wonderful people right here, we are working on updating the safety manual, and the crisis management response plan is buried in this safety manual, and we feel like this is kind of an important plan. If there is a crisis, we want this to be in the forefront. So we want to pull this out of the safety manual. We're still working on the safety manual, and that will come to the board probably in a month or so. But this we just want to pull out as an independent response plan. And then there is a policy. It was policy 718, which is our other policies. And we want to move it into our personnel policy. So the policy, instead of detailing the crisis plan, will just detail that we have a crisis management plan, and that allows us to kind of make moderate updates, name changes, things like that, without having to bring it back to the board. Any big changes, the crisis plan would come back to the board. But this is just an important one for staff to know. Also for the board to know, the board does play a role in a crisis. It goes through what to say and what not to say to the media, kind of our contact list and all things important to a crisis. So we'd ask for approval of the crisis management plan being pulled out of the safety manual, and then updating the policy and moving it to section 200, which is our personnel policy manual.
Yeah, I know.
I thought I took it out.
No, it's not in there.
Oh, I did. The staff phone numbers will be in there.
But it will be in there.
But I did take them out for the point of publishing this packet. I'm like, did I miss his?
No.
I should have put Dirk's in there. Just kidding.
Don't put
his
Dirk,
cell
that would be
phone.
expensive every time he answers.
That's why you get a Google Voice number, kind of removed.
So we're happy to answer any questions about the crisis.
Just a comment. I thought this was well done. I thought it was well put together. My ask to the team is to make sure or consider reviewing this once a year and reading it, because I feel like this is a great information and it's something that we will forget in 12 months. So it's probably always good to check in on it.
And that is another reason we wanted to pull it out of the safety manual, so we could easily review it.
So in your compliance, do you have an annual type of read-through or anything like that?
We're trying to get there. We're working on updating everything. But again, that's why we wanted to pull this out, because now if we get it updated, then we can review it every year, and we'll probably put it in the board packet just so the board sees it.
Because I have to do things like this, you guys should have to. If I have to do it.
So, yes. So that is the point of pulling it out too. It makes it easier to review than having to go through the entire safety manual. But our goal is to start reviewing those manuals annually once we get everything updated.
Can I make a motion to approve?
You sure can.
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Veer?
Yes.
Commissioner Weber?
Yes.
Commissioner Carter?
Yes.
President Opid?
Yes. 5.5, discussion and/or approval of resolution R2502, authorizing the release and continued retention respectively of certain executive session minutes and authorizing the destruction of verbatim recordings.
So we look back 18 months and 1 day. And when we look back, there was only one executive session, and that was on June 12th of 2023. And that was for a medical accommodation for my ruptured Achilles. So we
Good
can
days.
Good days. So we can release that one.
Just need a motion.
Mm-hmm. We're looking for a motion.
To approve resolution R2502.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. Commissioner Weber?
Yes.
Commissioner Carter?
Yes.
Commissioner Veer?
Yes.
President Opid?
Yes. Yeah, you did a good job. All right, board business, new business. So I think this is the annual meeting where we elect both officers and discuss the committees for the next 12 months. So Brad, just to kind of bring you up to speed here, we will go through a nomination process, and then assuming we have some consensus in the conversation, we'll usually do an omnibus approval, approve everything at once.
Okay.
So at this time, it's kind of an open discussion for positions. We'll start with 6.2.1, board president. And we need a nomination, we need nominations technically.
Yes.
Wait a second.
I would nominate Brian to continue. Do I just have to nominate or should we talk about it?
As long as you want to.
I'm willing to serve, if you
I
guys.
nominate Brian to continue as board president.
I second that.
Okay. All right, we'll go to board vice president.
Is that Stephanie right now?
It's actually Bob,
Bob.
I think, right?
Yep.
I'll do it, it's not a big deal. I just have to fill in for Brian when he goes
So,
away.
yeah, so gentlemen, just so you know, typically those roles, vice president and second vice president, I don't think we've ever really used a second vice president, but it's primarily if somebody isn't here to chair the meeting, it's kind of just who chairs the meeting.
Right.
That's kind of what it is, all right?
There he goes.
I nominate Bob Veer for board vice president.
I'll second that too. Why not?
We'll do a vote at the end.
Pardon?
I'm going to nominate Commissioner Posey for second vice president.
One second.
I'll nominate Jenny for board secretary.
One second.
Who seconded?
Bob,
And
Jamie, yeah.
then I nominate Jamie Howard for treasurer.
One second.
Just handing out nominations to
Okay, do you want to do an omnibus approval for that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so I would like to get a motion to approve Brian Open for board president, Bob Veer for vice president, Stephanie Posey for second vice president, Jenny Bechtold for board secretary, and Jamie Hollick for treasurer.
Second?
Commissioner Veer,
Yes.
Commissioner Carter,
Yes.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
President Open.
Yes.
I know.
You were quick to hand them out. Just giving them to everybody else.
All right, next, 6.3, we'll discuss the appointment of commissioners to committees. I think traditionally we've had these three committees: Administration Committee, Parks and Facilities, Recreational and Cultural Programming. To be clear, oftentimes in some organizations, these committees would go into detail about things before they come to the board. Typically with this board, which I appreciate, is we kind of put everything on the table here as the board. So that's just, as a result of that, we generally don't meet too often, with the exception of, I think the administration committee often will do a cursory review of the budget before it comes to the board. So it's more symbolic. Maybe we want to revisit this in the future, but I think tonight we should at least move forward with, talking through these and nominating, and then if we want to make changes later, we can. So,
Parks and facilities, if you want.
okay,
Yeah, I'll just be off that, I'll just be admin.
you want to continue to do admin?
I mean, I'm comfortable
I
with
would
it.
love you to do admin.
And then,
Yes.
yeah.
So then we just basically keep it the same, but
Would you like
Chris
to-
Clark with the open,
Yeah.
with
Veer.
Veer. And the Parks and Facilities.
So essentially Bob's coming
Bob's
Bob
going to come off
sees-
Parks and
yeah,
Facilities,
yeah.
right? And then we'll say,
Brad.
Bob will be admin, Brad will be Parks and Facilities, and Chris, you'll still work with Stephanie on the art stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so can I get a motion that Commissioner Veer will be on the administration committee? Brad, I'm forgetting your last name, I'm embarrassed. Brad Carter, we'll nominate Brad to run Parks and Facilities, and Chris Weber and Stephanie Posey for Recreation and Culture Programming.
So are you on Parks and Facilities too?
I can be. Brad, do you want me to sit with you on that?
If you'd like.
Yeah, sure, that's fine. I'll let you chair it though.
Oh, fabulous, thank you.
I move to approve all those
Okay.
nominations.
I'll second.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
Commissioner Veer,
Yes.
Commissioner Carter,
Yes.
President Opid.
Yes. Okay, committee reports. So from those newly. No.
I have no report.
Can I assume there are no reports? All right. All right, this would be the opportunity for public comments. Our second opportunity, Rose, I'd love to give you the floor if you have anything you'd like to add tonight.
I guess I would just say thank you for the conversation about, the contamination. I guess I feel like it would be worthwhile probably for Jenny to just bring up the concerns and just say, was there anything valuable, relevant, and accurate in what Mr. Pluto brought up? And just that might allay some of the concerns that you have. I'm guessing that White & Company has a vested interest in making sure TSC and the contractor do a good job as well, right? Because that reflects on them. So hopefully, that whatever was under there, that was whether it was the batteries or any storage materials that were in there, hopefully the remedy, like you mentioned, is the same. So I just think that might be valuable to do that. And then again, just any, I wasn't sure, I briefly was asking about whether there's any bioswales or, other kind of green infrastructure that could be done. I don't know how the clay or how the new, it sounded like trees could be put in there, but I wasn't sure with clay. And then, how far it would penetrate, I don't know how that works, but anyway, you can just, add some above ground water drainage, looking at the grading, I think would be valuable. And I do think it is the village, the village has a responsibility, but anytime you come partner with the village on these things, it's valuable to all the residents. That's it, thank you so much.
Thanks, Rose.
Thank you. All right, 9.0, board comments. I'll open the floor. Anybody want to start?
I'll start. I thought the pet parade was awesome being in front and fast. We had too much stuff to give out in 45 minutes. But it was fun being with the staff and board members there. That was nice. We missed some of the others who were in other floats and such, but it was good.
Yeah, I have nothing to add.
I just want to say with the pep parade, I like the chalk. I thought that was a great idea.
I
Nice and sustainable. It wasn't putting plastic in the environment. So I would vote to continue with that trend. I think a lot of the parents really appreciated that. So great choice on that giveaway. And as always, I want to say thanks to our residents for coming and sharing their opinions. I often think they feel like they're not heard, but I would encourage them that they are heard, and we take that into our conversations outside of this boardroom. So it is something I personally value. So with that, could I get a motion? We have no executive session tonight, so I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
7:35.
Second.
I'm
All
sorry,
in favor?
who
Brad
said? Brad.
and Bob? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.